Andrew Tate has, in the course of less than a year, become a viral sensation. A man who was still a public figure but relatively unknown just months ago is popping up everywhere on YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, practically every social media service you can imagine. Until relatively recently, he would probably be best known as a talented but short-lived kickboxer or reality TV regular. Now, he has become a massive influencer, one of the biggest internet personalities in the world in terms of pure exposure. He can be seen through his own accounts, his appearances in media blitzes on other channels, and just in videos made by shockingly, suspiciously dedicated fan accounts.
Guy is shit. Even if you think your life isn't shit, it's because you don't have anything to compare it to. When I was broke, I knew rich people, so I knew how crap my life was, because I saw the rich people having fun, and I couldn't have it. So you guys may not realize right now that your life is crap, but it is, because you're broke. You need to get rich.
Given all of this popping up seemingly overnight, you would be right to question Andrew Tate's remarkable and extremely sudden rise to stardom. After all, a sudden viral status like this might not be unheard of, but it is exceptionally rare. It brings to mind some questions. Who is Andrew Tate? What is it he does? And how did he get so famous so quickly? Welcome to the Strangles channel. If you like documentaries, I do these every single week. Leave a like, subscribe, and turn on post notifications. Now, without further ado, let's get back into the documentary. This is the easiest of the three questions to answer. Emory Andrew Tate III was born on December 14th, 1986 in Chicago. He has spoken in the past of how his grandfather and father were big influences in his life. His grandfather, Emory Andrew Tate I, was a man who had been a farmer, born into racially charged times. He had become a well-known attorney in Chicago and taught chess to Andrew Tate's father, Emory Tate II. His father was a trailblazer for African-American chess players, making a name for himself as an expert in the game. He reportedly never studied the game or relied on playing against chess machines, instead relying largely on instinct. He had what many called a very entertaining style, a style packed with dynamic moves and a lot of aggression. His wildly creative and dangerous tactics earned him over 80 tournament wins against chess grandmasters.
And finally, it's an echo variation that my queen is now on the second time in the game on e1. And that's an unusual square for the queen. So queen e1 and now back queen e1. It's a crowning move, and the game was over.
Andrew Tate has said that he shares his father's love of the game himself. And in a way, the same style of wild aggression and fascinating to watch dynamism encapsulates how Tate fights as a kickboxer, and really how he lives his life. Since his youth, Tate has worked extremely hard to give himself the reputation of a hustler, a man who absolutely never stops working. He advertises himself as the ultimate alpha male, offering classes and tips to help other men be as great as him. In an effort to showcase how women close to him are subservient to his will, he has landed himself in hot water in the past.
I like to think I live very true to the base instincts of reality. And the base instinct of reality always has been, to a degree, violence. I'm not a violent person, I'm a very peaceful person. But as long as I'm not threatened with violence, it's very difficult for me to give a shit about anything else. And that's because I've been threatened with violence so many times and I've been in so many scenarios. Outside of professional fighting, I've been in so many scenarios where I really thought I might die. As long as that's not happening, I don't really give a shit. So if I'm sitting there with a bitch and she's hot, intimidated what? She ain't got hands. She can't slip a jab.
Tate was a housemate on Big Brother in the UK in 2016. In fact, he had become a bit of a regular on European reality TV series. His abrasive personality and machismo clearly appealed to producers as something that viewers might find entertaining. He clashed with other members on reality shows and was a source of a ton of the drama that fuels viewership for these shows. The producers of Big Brother, though, probably came to regret their choice with Tate. He was still starring as a house member on the show when a leaked video of him seemingly physically assaulting a woman came to light.
No, he's more and he does as well as he wants.
Go tell the camera that I beat you and you don't do as I say. Go say it in English, proper English, no Slovak bull. Say it to the camera.
He beats me when I don't listen.
That's not what I said say, is it? I said when I said tell the camera I beat you when you don't do as I say. I didn't say the word listen.
He was removed from the show as a result of the video. However, an update later posted on Tate's Facebook page explained that the physical interaction was consensual. Tate, for his part, also pins his removal on some unaired tension and altercations with other members of the show. In 2022, Tate was arrested on human trafficking charges in Romania. An American woman at his home alleged that she was being held against her will and contacted her boyfriend. One of the women from Romania also allegedly claimed to being held against her will. According to Tate, the American woman had only claimed to be a victim of human trafficking because she didn't want her boyfriend discovering that she was at the Romanian home of Andrew Tate and his brother, Christian Tate. The last official statement from the authorities stated that the investigation was ongoing, but Andrew Tate has freely traveled internationally since the incident, and no charges presently stand against him.
Is that true that you sequestered an American girl in your flat here in Pipera?
Listen, I ask girls to leave. I do not try and make them stay. It's absolutely not true. I can't talk about the case because it's still pending, but I'll give you a very short version. Some girl was at the house. I saw her once. Many girls come for parties, etc. Her boyfriend caught her there, and she told a bunch of lies to her boyfriend, and her boyfriend called the police. It's stupid.
Beyond his brushes with the law, Andrew Tate also regularly makes outlandish statements about men and women, politics, the state of the world, and more. Around the time of his initial arrest for the human trafficking charge, he claimed that part of the reason he had even moved to Romania instead of the US or the UK was because of its lax enforcement on sex crime charges. He claimed,
and I moved to Romania because it felt more free than the UK in certain aspects. And it is. In certain aspects, it's certainly more free. You're always, as an individual, you always have to make a trade-off. And the trade-off is usually between laws and the strength of the government and the judicial system and your safety, right? This is the usual trade-off.
His statements like these have often proven controversial, even beyond any legal or professional repercussions. He has been accused of misogyny and general spread of dangerous misinformation due to statements he has made, such as saying that women are simply searching for the best mate and unable to help themselves from being enslaved by him. According to Tate, depression isn't real and can be cured by simply working to improve your life.
And that's why it's super important that we stop teaching people that depression is something that can't be fixed. I say this all the time, every single mental health month. Depression's the worst thing in the world, it's disease. You think you're helping, you're doing the opposite. Stop telling people that they can't fix it and start telling people, look, if you work hard, you can feel better. You're depressed now, but if you go to the gym and you work out and you train, you get a good body, you start getting social, you get some friends, go to some social clubs, start to meet people, start to do things, you will feel better. The gym has been proven to fix more depression than antidepressants. This has been proven, this is statistical.
He has claimed that he owns a woman's property when he's with her, that assault victims deserve some of the blame for their circumstances, that female infidelity is orders of magnitude worse than male infidelity.
However, I would not see my infidelity as nearly anywhere near even 1% as disgusting as female infidelity, because female infidelity involves emotion. You will not sleep with a man you don't like. I can sleep with a woman I don't like. It's a completely different thing. I can be head over heels in love with a woman, ready to die for her, ready to take a bullet for her, protect her, give her all the money in the world, make sure she has a beautiful family, a nice big house, all of it. And I'll still f that. Watch me.
And that women secretly know that all men are cheaters and just want to provide an illusion for themselves by thinking anyone is loyal.
Huh? What's on his phone?
Probably some shit that she doesn't want to see.
Yeah. So every man's doing it anyway. So every woman knows it, and the reason she doesn't demand to see his phone because she'll want to have her illusions shattered.
The response to these statements is pretty predictable. He is called misogynistic and shunned as a public figure. People make videos ranting about all of his insane statements and how terrible they all are. The result of these responses is also just as predictable. It leads Tate to be exposed to new audiences and in the end makes him a bigger name and more known personality. A lot of his viewers and fans seem to take his statements and antics at face value. He taps into a subset of men who seem to be dissatisfied and lonely in their lives. They look to him and seem to see something akin to an older brother or a father figure, someone who will teach them to be real men so they can finally feel happy and satisfied. But it's also clear that there are a large number of people who watch him purely for the entertainment factor. People who get a kick out of both the things he says and the people that publicly freak out at his statements. It's not entirely clear just how much of this persona is his genuine everyday personality and how much is a calculated move to ensure this media cycle and keep himself in constant public exposure. Either way, whether it's accidental or intentional, and whether it's calculated public performance or a genuine set of beliefs, one area of business that Andrew Tate excels at is marketing, especially when it comes to marketing himself. As it happens, marketing himself is probably his most important job at this point in time, but it's far from the only job he has ever had. This is where things get complicated. Andrew Tate, as he himself would be glad to talk at length about, has had a wide variety of businesses throughout his life.
If I had not tried a bunch of other businesses and some made money, some didn't make money, etc., I don't think I would have been nearly as successful. I approached it very much like a business. I was not thirsty. I wasn't trying to sleep with the chicks. I wasn't trying to be Dan Bilzerian, none of that kind of crap. It was very, very much a company. It was a business. It was super professional. It was handled in a very professional way. And I applied all the business lessons that I learned in my endeavors of the past, and we managed to make a whole bunch of money.
Some have been very successful, others have not. Depending on when you heard of him, you might well have been most familiar with him because of his kickboxing career. Now, with all of the constant controversy and self-marketing around Andrew Tate, it would be understandable to forget that he even was a fighter at one point, let alone that it was really his first claim to fame. Considering all the hype that Tate generates by inflating his own accomplishments, you'd even be forgiven for wondering if he was actually any good at kickboxing. But for all of the controversial statements and exaggerated stories about himself, one thing that cannot be denied is Tate's abilities and genuine talent in the ring.
Very good, strong leading kicks there from Tate to start off a fight.
And you can see just how, you can see the experience of Tate, just how calm he is there, pulling out that jab, doesn't flinch on. Oh, that's a thunderous leg kick.
Devastating leg kick, really buckled.
Oh, head kick!
And a head kick.
Huge. What? Takes his time, not charging in. Oh, he dropped him, standing 8 count coming.
While he wouldn't make his kickboxing debut until 2009, he had been training since 2005, including while still running his Ponzi scheme. I mean, working and selling TV advertisements. We'll get to that. He fought in his first match in an International Sport Karate Association, or ISKA match, and won in his debut fight. That same year, he won the Full Contact Cruiserweight Championship in England. He had an unorthodox style in the ring, using what seemed like traditional boxing moves combined with more traditional martial arts kicks. He had decent power behind his punches and worked effectively to break his opponent's defenses and manipulate their guards to win fights. His style was creative and aggressive, not unlike his father's method of playing chess. He fought in multiple leagues like the ISKA, Infusion, and IKF. The exact details around his career are a little fuzzy because coverage of them is pretty scarce and lacking in video footage, but he seems to have held 3 world championships and successfully defended them. However, this was not his biggest interest in life. He didn't fight because of some deep compulsion or passion, he did it for the money. And according to Tate, the highest he ever got paid for a single fight was $100,000. This was not nearly enough for Tate, who had plenty of other ideas to get rich or die trying. So he more or less left fighting behind.
And people think, oh, Tate, did you get your money from kickboxing? And the answer is no. Kickboxing is not boxing. Even as a 4-time world champion, the most money I ever got paid for a fight ever was $100,000, which sounds like a lot of money, but in the grand scheme of things, it's not a lot of money. You have to pay your manager 20%, probably another 10% out for various fees, and you're only fighting twice a year. You got to pay your rent, blah, 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 blah. You're not rich as an athlete.
His record is somewhat disputed, but he stood somewhere around 43 to 76 wins with only 9 losses by the time he left kickboxing behind in 2016, though he returned 4 years later at KO Master 7. There, he fought Miralem Ahmadi and won the match.
Caught him right in the liver. That could be it, right in the liver. It's a good shot.
He hasn't fought since that event, but there have been some rumors in recent days, pretty much immediately around the time of writing this video. It's possible that Tate might actually be going head-to-head in a fight with Jake Paul. He has talked trash to Paul in the past, but also hasn't gotten into the ring in quite some time, so the result of these rumors remains to be seen.
But let me explain something to you about combat sports. There are a whole bunch of men out here who will never be as famous as you, will never make the money you've made, who would kick the living fuck out of you. This is the hardest sport in the world, and people dedicate their lives to this, and most of them never get a payday. It never pays off for the majority of fighters, who would fuck you up. $3 million. You put 3, I put 3, winner takes all. I'm 5 years out the ring. I'm a kickboxer. You're 2-0 in boxing. I'm 0-0 in boxing. I've never even fought boxing. I'm a retired old man. 5 years I've been sitting around smoking cigars and fucking bitches, which are better looking than the fucking girl you're advertising anyway.
Regardless, Andrew Tate almost totally left the ring behind for a long time to pursue his other business ventures. By his own admittance, his desire to start and run businesses does not come from some personal passion for any particular art or skill, but more just an overall desire to be rich. He has run the gamut of independent businesses in that pursuit. When he was young, long before his fighting career, he tried to corner the market of importing aloe vera drinks at a time when they were not common in the United Kingdom. He claims he contacted superstores directly for a long period of time and paid £2,000 to an importer, only for the business to go up in flames.
Back then, nowhere in England had drinks with aloe vera in it. So I was only like 21, 22, and obviously I was broke as a joke and I wanted to get rich. So I thought, yeah, I'm going to import these drinks and I'm going to sell them in England, and I'm going to be a sole supplier, and I'm going to get rich.
Following this, in 2007, he began working in television advertising. According to Tate, he applied for a job that required a college degree despite not having one. When the employer brought this up, Tate stated that he was willing to work for free for a week to prove that he had what it took to make it on the job. Supposedly, within the first month, he had broken the sales record for the company and established himself as a star employee. He was so successful, in fact, that another employee at the company asked him to jump ship and start their own company, to which Tate agreed. Now, starting your own television advertising company at this point would be certifiably insane, but it was no easy feat at that time either. Tate and his company, T2 Television, made themselves stand out by offering extremely low-cost deals. So low-cost, in fact, that they were really losing money on the deals. How could you have a company where so many deals were actually losing them money? Well, according to Tate, a business doesn't need to be profitable to survive. It only needs a steady stream of revenue.
And every single business I've tried, I will find a way to launch it for effectively free.
The company would allegedly secure a deal for a TV ad, and in order to pay for that ad, would use the funds from the next agreement that they made. Some of the money was being taken by Tate and other employees, of course, with some also allegedly going to feed his co-workers' cocaine habit. This meant that the company could survive only by taking on more and more clients. This is essentially the textbook example of a Ponzi scheme, where existing investors are compensated with funds secured from new investors, all while the person in charge of the scheme pockets the extra money. Eventually, like most do, the T2 Television Ponzi scheme collapsed. According to Andrew, he took some time off to train in kickboxing shortly before his fighting debut, but failed to account for how much his co-workers' cocaine habit would drain the company's funds. Tate would later say that his biggest mistake was not taking more money from the scheme while it lasted. This statement highlights the only care that he has regarding business. His philosophy on the matter can be boiled down to, no business lasts forever, and you need to make sure you make yourself as rich as possible above anything else while it does last. In a way, this mindset is strangely fitting for a guy like Andrew Tate. His father brought an infectious aggression and unorthodox style to his chess games. Tate did the same in his kickboxing career. This obsession in his business ventures with never looking back, hurtling forward, keeping momentum, being as aggressive as you could be, and always establishing dominance for yourself perfectly mirrors his attitude in the ring.
It's very, very strong, very aggressive. However, Andrew Tate has been the one that's been landing the shots here so far. And he had a good takedown with that judo arm and head takedown that he did just previously.
Yeah, both guys very even on experience here. Both catching the leg, running him up against the fence. Yeah, both guys very even on experience, 4 years apiece. And both, as I say, coming from a striking background. One from boxing, one from kickboxing.
Big overhand shot by by Tate. Lands square. Kavanaugh is down for the count. Ref stoppage.
This also helps explain his camgirl business. In 2015, Andrew Tate came up with an idea that he pitched to his 6 girlfriends at the time. He convinced the multiple women to fly to London, where he pitched them the idea of becoming camgirls. They would chat with any of the people who showed up on their live streams and perform sexual acts in exchange for money. They would also pretend to type into their chat and talk about their personal hardships and life struggles. However, it would really be Andrew and Tristan Tate who would be feeding them the sob stories to say on camera. And it would really be the brothers who would be in control of the chat stories and direction. It started with just 2 of the women agreeing to the idea.
Long story short, 3 left, 2 stayed. Those are my first 2 girls, and we started this little webcam business from my apartment, and it just grew and grew and grew, and it got to the point where at one point I had 75 women working for me in 4 locations. Damn. And I was doing $600,000 a month from webcam.
Pretty quickly though, it spread like wildfire into what could very well be described as a small empire. At its peak, Tate had over 70 women around the globe working for him, with Tate taking a 40% cut of the profits made by the women. He had managed to once again establish his prized idea of dominance over not just the women working for him, but also the men who visited the sites. Tate has made it clear on multiple occasions that he found the clients pretty pathetic. He and Tristan have spoken openly about how the business was a brazen scam, but he claimed nobody really cared and it was the other men's problem, not his. According to his brother Tristan, through this self-admitted scam, the two brothers charged viewers $4 a minute plus tips. A man supposedly handed over 20,000 pounds, his entire inheritance. Other men drove themselves into deep debt.
Now, I'd never seen money on a screen unless it was like an online casino and shit. So I was like, well, so what? You have to like gamble it, or does it? And it was like, no, that's real earned money on its way to my bank account. So rather than me going out slaving all day, I had a few chicks of my own. I put one on cam in my apartment. Then we had 4 girls on cam in 2 bedrooms, one after the other. I slept in the hall. I was that money hungry. And from there, we upgraded to a 4-bedroom, 5-bedroom penthouse over in Hitchin, Hertfordshire. Then we left the fucking UK because it's shit. And in Romania, you have faster internet, more girls, prettier girls. And we just grew into an empire. We were making $2 million a year, $2.5 million a year from webcam alone.
The Tate brothers have also dipped their toes into the casino business. Tate claims that he convinced men involved in the mafia in Europe to allow him to franchise their casinos. He did so by telling them he would give them guaranteed money regardless of if the casinos were profitable and open the locations next to the competitors of the mafia. This questionable strategy was also made worse by the timing. He started his casino ambitions close to the closures, meaning he was paying for casinos that he couldn't even have opened for over a year.
Yes, so in Romania, I have 15 branches of a casino. There's no live dealers, it's just machines. So it's like arcade setup. Corona came and f***ed that up. I've been paying 15 rents for a year and a half. But yeah, I own casinos as well in Romania. And that was one of the businesses I opened.
But even if it wasn't the smartest business move, it fit perfectly into his mantra of never slowing down and always attacking with maximum aggression. But none of these businesses have to do with his sudden explosive exposure online. It is his biggest source of money that also brings us to the third question. Andrew Tate launched Hustlers University as a replacement for business school. It was a course that would teach you everything you need to know about business and how to make money fast. In it, he spent a number of hours in front of a whiteboard making some questionable analogies. He described his own process of becoming rich, but didn't offer much in the way of tangible entrepreneurial advice. It could be compared to more of a self-help course than a business course. A series of lessons that seems more concerned with rewiring your attitude and general approach to life than the essential building blocks of really opening a business. There is also another service that Tate calls the War Room. Its website claims that it is, quote, a global network in which exemplars of individualism work to free the modern man from socially induced incarceration. Another page claims that the War Room is the greatest global network which exists on planet Earth. The War Room is a global organization with members based and influenced in over 70 countries. Our network contains a varied expertise, which allows us to exert influence globally. Every member has either achieved or is working towards the ultimate goal of all intelligent men, freedom in a world of slavery. From the outside, it's unclear what this all means or what the War Room even truly is. According to a review, it is largely a network of rich and influential people combined with the everyday users that pay for the service that exists to connect businessmen and entrepreneurs. The service itself consists of Telegram chats of users that are just average paying customers, with more elite members being locked behind events and additional paywalls. There are live events with these influential people, but they usually have additional costs associated with them, even beyond the $5,000 asking price of the service itself. Supposedly, these events can cost as much as $5,000 themselves.
Shit. All right, Hustlers University, listen to me. Broke people, and if you don't have a Bugatti, you're broke. So I would say 100% of the people watching this, I consider you all poor. Yeah. Broke people are one of 3 things. You're either arrogant, lazy, or stupid. You can decide which one you want to be. Maybe you're a mixture of all 3, but you are. Because when I try and tell people how to make money, they usually come back with something like, yeah, but I think... Who cares what you think? You're poor. You're poor. If thinking got you where you are, then maybe you should stop. Because you ain't got anything, you're a brokey.
You walk around thinking thoughts your whole life. Look where that got you.
Nowhere.
Nowhere.
Sometime later, though, came Hustlers University 2.0, and this is where Andrew Tate both went all in on his alpha male savior of masculinity image and became massively popular. Now, the university itself consists of some chat channels in a Discord server. There are quote-unquote professionals who are financial advisors, supposedly handpicked by Tate, who give financial advice like stocks to watch for and business basics.
But the irony is that once you join the university, you barely see Tate at all. He claims to be teaching the secrets to modern wealth creation, but the reality is, from what I saw, he was too busy marketing to actually be present in the Discord. And instead, you just had all these random people teaching you like e-commerce or freelancing or copywriting and investing. And this is kind of one of the reasons that I struggled to get good screenshots to show you guys from inside the course, because it was so boring and bland.
The marketing of the course, though, is radically different from its reality. The banner of the site proclaims, "Tap into the wisdom and knowledge of a hand-picked network of specialists. It's time to escape the matrix and taste financial freedom." That "escape the matrix" line in particular is a favorite of Tate's. He has taken to marketing himself as a man who has the answers to escape the web of social lies and systemic control that surround every man in the world. He likens himself to Morpheus, the only one able to wake you up and make you see the real world, and able to make you rich through all of the secrets that he holds. He uses his lavish lifestyle to show you a taste of what you could have. If you take a step, a lot of it doesn't seem that different from how he viewed himself as a towering figure standing above his cam girls or their patrons. It also doesn't seem that different from the fight for undisputed dominance in the ring. The classes themselves, though, seem to set slightly different expectations. A particular image used is a quadrant that describes what the course defines as cash rich and time rich. Cash rich, according to the chart, means having more than $5,000, which is hardly the kind of money that Tate seems to promise you could have in marketing the course. Time rich is defined as having more than 28 free hours a week, which works out to just 4 free hours a day, giving you enough time to work 2 jobs with the right days and shifts.
These are the things I talk about in my private networks. I just don't talk about them here to public. I don't talk about them nearly as deep or as advanced. Amongst my private networks, I like to talk about them at a much more intricate level, because to the normies, to the brokies, they're not ready to listen to it. The Matrix, they say in the movie, people who are still dependent on the system will fight to defend the system. There are people who I will sit there and say to them, look, your university degree is a scam. They lied to you. I will show you how to make money. And their reply will be, no, I went to a good university. They are desperate. No, that degree means something.
Hustlers University has over 100,000 members, all paying a price of $50 a month. That works out to a figure of $5 million a month for Tate and his professors. But most importantly, for the question of how Tate got so famous, there's that number of users to keep in mind. Over 100,000 members. Why does that matter? Well, it answers the question of why Andrew Tate is blowing up on social media everywhere. Hustlers University 2.0 has a referral program. In fact, while researching this video, I came across a site that seemed like it was an alternate official website for the program. But there seemed to be a couple funny details upon closer inspection. The course claims to have over 100,000 members enrolled, but according to the site, that number was only 40,000. Also on the site, I guess as an incentive to get you to subscribe urgently, it states that the cost would rise up to $100 a month once they had reached 60,000 members. I guess they forgot to update that one. That's probably because this is not an official site at all and is one of many affiliate link sites that have popped up to take advantage of the referral program. With the program, any Hustlers University subscribers that get other people to subscribe to the program get a cut of the user's sign-up payment. This means that it's in the subscribers' best interest to spread links for the course as far and wide as they can to attract as many users as possible to make money for themselves. These new users, in turn, are then incentivized to do the same. This is perfectly in line with Tate's advice to keep the money moving and to focus on speed and momentum. It is also pretty in line with his Posse scheme TV ad business, though in this case, it's much closer to multi-level marketing or a pyramid scheme.
So, okay, so it is a multi-level marketing scheme, got it. I just wanted to figure out if it was truly a pyramid scheme. It would be inappropriate of me to assume that it's a pyramid scheme without having you explain it in such terms, but thank you.
This referral program has enabled his meteoric rise by incentivizing social media users to make him go viral. In the descriptions of these videos, the uploaders put in their referral links in the hope of getting $5 from people signing up. Now, you can hand Andrew Tate any insult you want for any of his other views on social issues, business ventures, his fighting career, how much his university actually teaches, or whatever else. But you cannot deny this one thing. Even without forcing you to sign up for his service right here, Andrew Tate has just given you a great lesson in marketing. In fact, looking at all of the people hyping him up for a fraction of a single month's sign-up cost, this right here, it might be the best business advice he has ever handed out. So, what can someone make of Tate in the end? It's not clear how much of his persona is in fact just a persona. We don't know how much of what he says he really believes, or if he thinks that everything he's putting out is supposed to be a pyramid scheme scam, or if he legitimately believes in his statements and products. All that can be said is that Andrew Tate might be good at selling a product, and he might be good at selling a promise, but he is definitely great at selling himself. All of his business as a teacher and life coach is entirely dependent on how he's built up his own self-image. At the very least, his style of non-stop aggressive hits and pushback in and out of the ring has been a massively successful tool to build that image.